What's going on, guys? Jim the Game Guru, your board game and video game nerd. In today's video, I got a nice board game that I just received. A beautiful, beautiful board game that is based off the PlayStation game Horizon Zero Dawn. And here we go. Let's take a look at the box. Really cool looking artwork on there. Take a look at the back side. There we go. This is a pretty substantial game. It's pretty meaty. It's got a huge, thick manual in there. It's 1 to 4 players. It's semi-cooperative, meaning that you work together with other players to take down beasts, the mechanical beasts. You hunt them down in a pack. The semi part comes in where there's always going to be one winner. There's going to be the person that makes the best decisions, the person that gets the most glory points will end up winning the game. So 1 to 4 players. If you guys are new to this channel, please consider subscribing. And let's go ahead and open this box up and see what's in there. All right, let's tear this open. The box feels absolutely fantastic. I love the box. I love the way the print is on the box too. Absolutely amazing. For the most part, they've done a pretty good job with this game as far as the manufacturing. There are a couple things that I want to get into and I'll show you guys that are kind of bug me a little bit. So like I said before, this is a pretty substantial game. It's got some massive meat to it. And the manual is a direct reflection of that. So if I push this up a little bit, it's about, this manual is about 50 pages. Let me see here, about 51 pages. It does have a quick reference on the back as well. Let's kind of dig in through here and just take a look of kind of the manual layout here. You got the table of contents, some introduction to the game. I mean, very well done. You can see the print on here and how beautiful it looks. Magazine quality. So this game does come with a bunch of miniatures, and as you can see here on the pages here in the manual, it shows you some of the miniatures for the creatures. It shows you some of the miniatures for your hunters that you will be using. And there are actually 3 decks or merchant decks: event deck, tracking deck, stamina cards, and some salvation deck cards. And these all go over all the components that you'll find in the game. Here it shows you kind of where you have the hunter cards, and you can actually equip them with different kind of gear. Let's see if I can get up in there like that, like there, yep. Show you it goes into like weapons and modifications and armor. And the thing that's really cool about this game is that your hunters you can actually upgrade. You'll actually end up finding merchants in between while during your encounters, so that you can actually end up getting different type of equipment. Then there's also modifications, and then there's statuses you can have, and here it goes into enemy data cards, and this whole area describes the enemies you'll be encountering. The salvage deck seems to be something that you get when you're encountering the creatures. So it seems to be something either like, I'm not sure if it's like rewards that you get from them, or if it's something that you get from actually the battle itself. And then it goes into a whole section of setting up your playing area. You'll actually have an encounter area which involves these kind of map pieces. And then you'll actually have an exploration area which will involve all of these different cards and setting them up in a specific way. You've got a tracking phase where you use a tracking deck and use event decks to encounter the creatures. Then you have an encounter phase which goes into, and then as you go through, you'll actually be setting up these tiles in a certain way. You have different terrain. That's kind of cool. You got rocky outcrops, you have tall grass, ruins, machine corpse. What else? Hunter turn. It goes into hunter activation steps. And you can see it is just meaty. Super, super meaty. Attacking components. Each of the enemies, the creatures, will have their own data cards that will list their stats. It goes into enemy steps on what they can do, but the manual is printed so nicely. I mean, it's a lot of reading, without a doubt. This is one of those games where you have to read the manual by yourself, soak up all the information before you even think about coming to the table with a bunch of friends to play it. Campfire phase. You have a victory step. It goes into like leveling up your character. Stamina cards. Yeah, super cool. Merchant step. You'll find merchants that you can actually buy stuff and get additional gear. And then they go into alternate play modes and Hunter's Call in the end of the game. And these are the different people you can be. You can be a Karja Warrior, Nora Marksman, Bannock Survivor, and Osram Forgesmith. And then your quick reference on the back. Yep. Really, really cool. Beautiful, beautiful manual. My God, that thing is super, super thick. Let's go into some of the tile pieces here. So here we go. We have a bunch of tiles that you're using for your terrain and when you're encountering and hunting down creatures. I mean, they look pretty good. I mean, they're printed well. I mean, you can tell what kind of terrain you're dealing with when you're looking at each one of these map pieces. I'm not sure how they're used as far as coordinates between each of the squares, but somehow the tracking deck will help you do that. All right, so if we go back into the box and take a look at that beautiful setup there, you can see all those little miniatures in there. We're gonna go ahead and pull these out. This game is very tightly packed. So if you're even, and one thing that's bad about that is if you ever have any thoughts about sleeving your cards in this game, you're going to end up having to buy a whole new box for this game because there's just no way you're going to put sleeved cards back into this box. I mean, they left really no room at all for any kind of expansion or any kind of sleeving of cards or anything. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out as well. Put the box right up there. So these are the smaller creatures that you'll encounter. All right, here we go. We'll go ahead and get into some of these. And just take a look at that. That's really cool looking. And each one of these little miniatures will actually have this base. This kind of this round base where it just can comfortably set on the mapping area. The terrain. Here's another one, looks really cool. There's not a lot of weight to these miniatures. Like, they seem a little bit more hollow and plasticky than some of the miniatures in other games. Like, especially with this one, I can tell this one feels very, very light and kind of... Like, this size miniature in the Doom game would have been a whole lot heavier. I really wish there was a little bit more weight in them. And let me here's some of the hunters. I can pull the hunter out here. So here's one of the hunters. Yeah, I like that a lot. I guess they needed to make the hunters brown just to make sure you don't confuse them with the creatures. Not that you can't tell they're different just because of their actual physical structure, but yeah. So those are the small ones. Let's go into get to some of the bigger ones here. Well, first we'll do the other hunters so I can show you those. This looks like it's the Forge. I think it's a Forgesmith, if I remember correctly. Here you guys, another one. So there's only 4 different kinds, representing the different types of classes or clans or whatever you'd like to call them. Yep. There we go. And then here we go, some of the more beasts. I mean, they do look really good. I like the way they look. So even though they're lighter than some of the miniatures from other games, at least they look really good. And this would probably be really, really sick if somebody were able to actually paint them. So if you're good at painting miniatures, then this might be something that would be right up your alley to paint. I mean, it would probably look amazing with the different types of colors and stuff. If you were actually make them like an exact reproduction of the colors from the game. Yeah, that's cool. And then we're going to these bigger ones here. This one's got a little bit more weight and feels good. than the smaller ones. But I absolutely love that. And these bigger ones, I am to assume that you'll encounter them less often in the game. And here's another one. That looks wicked. This is the one that's on the actual box, the box cover. Yeah, I like that a lot. Really cool looking. So now let's go into some of the cards. So here are the cards that are for the enemies. So you'll have these these data cards for them, for each one of them. And then, so we'll go into Sawtooth, Shellwalker. See if I can get this without the light. Yeah, I'm gonna have to kind of curve it this way a little bit. Grazer, Scrapper, Strider, and the Watcher. Now the print is just, it's absolutely phenomenal on these cards. I really love the print. Now, my one gripe in this game with these cards is this. They are so thin, like right there. Right now I am applying very, very little pressure. I mean, like very little pressure. And they bend so easy. They're just so, they are so thin. And all the cards are like that. They're all that thin, which is kind of, I'm a little aggravated by that because this game is not cheap. It's probably around, it runs about $68 or so. And I think they could have put a little bit more money into making better cards. Now you can sleeve the cards if you want to give them like a little bit of a thickness and protect them a little bit more. But if you do that, you can't put them back in the box. You just can't do it because you have no room. All right, so I'm gonna pull these out. I'm gonna pull the cards out and show you the cards if I can. Okay, so here are some more of the enemy cards. These cards will be used in conjunction with their bigger cards. But the print, as you can see, the print is still amazing on even on these little cards. Well, these aren't little. I'd say these are more regular size cards. We got some Shellwalkers, some Tooth for the Sawtooth cards. I mean, just amazing print. I mean, it's so good. And it just kills me that these cards are so thin. I mean, it would be near perfection as far as manufacturing on this game if the cards were thicker. And here, this is the tracking deck. So somehow this game uses certain, I don't know what these are, coordinates or whatever they are. And these tracking cards are used to set up your encounters in the game. So you get all of these tracking cards. And then you have events. And these events will do different things. Now, I like the size of the font on these cards. This is not one of those games that does the mini fonts. It actually has really nice large font. So here, like this lucky break, this hunter may reroll 1 die. And this hunter may reroll 1 die in every dice roll they make during this encounter. So there's different events that can happen. And you just play these event cards as you're encountering the beasts. But yeah, I mean, look at the print. I mean, look at the print. I mean, look at that. I mean, freaking look at that. That is like awesome. Just the man. Just wish they were a little thicker. And then here you go into your characters. So you'll have like your character starter cards. And then this is all the Banuk. You have Frostwalker, Winter Chill. Then you got the Karja Warrior now. Karja Halberd, slings, like some of the weapons. This looks like a skill tree You actually get like little components, like a little token to put on here that you'll actually use through your skill tree. So you start up here, and then you'll end up kind of going down your skill tree, which is kind of neat. I like the ability. I like it when games have this complex ability to upgrade your characters through skills and traits and stuff. It just adds that extra depth of flavor to the game. Yep, so these are all your character stuff. Now we go into here and we go into like the merchant. These are all the cards for the merchant deck. There's 3 merchant decks. There's level 1 merchant, level 2, level 3. I'm not going to flip through all of these, but like you have certain things like modifications that you can add to your character. Here's a firebomb weapon, shock bomb, blast wire, shadow hunter bow, and then you get armor. So this is a Karja Silk's heavy armor. Banuk Ice heavy, hunter heavy armor. And then you get like other things like this is some kind of damage coil. Oh, okay. I'm guessing this is something you can use during your attack. Some resisting arrows, overkill. You get hunter arrows there. So yeah, so a lot of, and let's see if there's anything else. You get a backswing, a cleave. So actually actions as well that you can perform with your hunter. So you got firewire right there. What else we got? Statuses like durable, battering ram. And you can see like even with this battering ram, they reused the hammer graphic. So I mean they could have done something with like more of a battering ram graphic, but some of these will have different names and different abilities, but they just reuse some of the photos. So you've got sacrifice. This ability can only be used when performing a melee attack. All right, so there's certain things like this one will actually cause you to discard up to 2 additional cards from your hand to add an additional whatever the yellow die is for each discarded card. So it's just a way to help you attack. Freeze bomb, blazing strike, hit and run, some more actions. So in this deck, you do have actions as well as a lot of the equipment and weapons and stuff. So a lot of these other cards that are in here are going to be the same type of thing. So I'm not going to really go any more into those type of cards. Then you have this. I think these are, oh yeah, I think these are the corpses. Yeah, they are. So here you have these little kind of panels that you can put on the map that will indicate a corpse of one of the creatures. So it looks like you can kind of go through and salvage corpses as you go through the exploration area or the encounter area. And so here are your dice. The dice feel really good. They've got the regular kind of weight to them. They're nothing special as far as the icons on here. They don't look that fantastic as far as they're just like a lot of arrows, and then I don't know what this is here with the box. I feel like they're maybe a little sloppy with the arrows. The indent on the die and the paint could have been a little bit more precise. But other than that, it's not bad. I mean, just typical standard die. So go ahead and put that down, and then let's go here into the salvage deck. So here's your salvage deck, and then the salvage deck is, when you're scavenging the dead remains, or even when you're encountering the creatures and defeating them. These are some of the materials and stuff you can get. So you can get like blaze, you can get a sparker, chill water, metal shards. What else? Machine lens. And there's also this one that says, "It still breathes." So I guess if you end up drawing this out of the salvage deck, this will cause the monster to come back to life and kind of get a second wind, and you'll have to defeat it again. And it's the only card that I've seen in there like that. And then you have trophy shots. Yep, so these are the little baby cards. These baby cards will indicate we'll have a lot of your salvage deck stuff. And then besides that, besides all these components here with the miniatures and everything else, you have all these little tokens that come with the game. You have this ones which are your alert. You have your combat damage tokens, and these are like glory points here and then here. As you can see, I've already bagged a lot of these. These are all cardboard. You will get all of these bags within the game. So they'll give you them. I mean, you'll have these big cardboard sheets, and then you just punch them out, and you can stick them in the baggie. And this is like your little trackers that you put on your skill trees that I showed you earlier, the skill tree card. But yeah, not a whole lot of cardboard tokens. As you can see, it's all of these for everything in the game. So most of the stuff is on the cards and the miniatures and the map. So the cards do a lot. So these are just a little bit more dealing with the statuses and getting your glory points and stuff. So they all fit kind of, you got to find a place to put them. And I kind of shoved them all right in here. Kind of folded this. Some of these bags are a little too tall. So you have all of these cards. You have, so you get all of these cards here. You have let's put these cards in here too. And then you have the enemy data cards here, these bigger ones that I just showed you already. And then besides that, you have the miniatures, each one of these miniatures that go on to the terrain. And the terrain being right here, you set up these terrains. You'll have the two different areas. You'll have your exploration and your encounter area. Your encounter area is going to have all these mapping tiles and the miniatures on the board, and you kind of go through and try to hunt them down with your pack. These dice. So these dice will actually control some of your engagements. And so there is a little bit of randomness there. And I mean, I guess that's okay, because even though you have cards that will basically boost you, there's got to be something to deal with combat to make it not so guaranteed that you're always going to hit something with X amount of damage or whatever. So I'm fine with dice when it comes to some of the combat stuff. But yeah, everything kind of fits in nice and snug there. Well, let me put these data cards back in. But yeah, like I said earlier though, sleeving would require, if you end up sleeving this game, it will require you to get a whole new box for this game. There is no room. There's zero room, absolute zero room for any kind of expansions or any kind of sleeving capabilities whatsoever. You put your mapping tiles back in there. You put the manual back in there. So everything just fits nice and snug. And then we'll also go ahead and put this baggie in there too. And then you slide the box cover back on, and there you go. And there's Horizon Zero Dawn. There's all your components. Eventually, once COVID lets up and I'm actually able to get with some of my hardcore buddies into board gaming, I would like to do a run through with this game, then do a how-to play on it. But yeah, COVID's really cramping my style right now. But eventually I will. Eventually, once we get through this hard times and I can start meeting with people again and playing with them again, then I'll be able to do some more of those. But anyway, so those are the components of Horizon Zero Dawn. It looks absolutely fantastic. Cards are super thin though, like I said before, but it looks like it's something fun to play with people semi-cooperatively. But that's it, guys. I'm Jim the Game Guru. I'm your video game and board game nerd. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions about the game or whatever, just go ahead and put them in the comments and I'll try to get back to you. Thanks. Bye.